In the climate-controlled vaults of the British Museum, preserved on a fragment of clay no larger than a smartphone, there is a line of text that bridges 4 millennia of human history. It wasn't written by a king boasting of conquest or a priest charting the stars. It was written by a tired scribe in the city of Nippur around 1800 BCE. When translated from the original Sumerian cuneiform, the tablet reads, "The ox plows the field, the sheep provides the wool, but the dog stays behind the master waiting for a piece of meat to drop." For decades, we've been told that the ancient world was a place of pure survival, rigid religion, and cold utility. History textbooks teach us that animals back then were strictly tools, beasts of burden, or sacred symbols of the gods. But when you bypass the official royal monuments and look at the thousands of household tablets, school exercises, and private proverbs left behind in the dirt of ancient Iraq, a completely different reality emerges. The Sumerians were not living in a sterile, pre-scientific vacuum. They were living in the exact same chaotic, pet-obsessed world we are. Today, we peel back the formal history to reveal what the Sumerians actually thought about the animals inside their homes, trace the oldest recorded complaints about pets in human history, and look at the one animal behavior that drove ancient scribes absolutely insane. If uncovering the raw, unedited reality of ancient life interests you, subscribe now. We break down the human side of history every week. Every animal humans domesticated had a job. Horses carried soldiers, cattle turned the soil, donkeys transported trade goods along the Silk Road. But early in the 3rd millennium BCE, the Sumerians noticed an evolutionary shift. Certain animals were no longer staying outside the city gates. They were crossing the threshold into the private human household, and they weren't there to work. In a collection of texts known to archaeologists as the Instructions of Shuruppak, one of the oldest pieces of literature in human existence, dating back to 2600 BCE, a father gives advice to his son on how to run a household. Tucked between grand wisdom about honor and finances is a warning that sounds identical to modern financial advice. The text warns, "Do not buy a donkey that brays too much, and do not adopt a stray dog from the street, or it will tear your roof apart." The Sumerian word here for stray or wild dog implies an animal that didn't belong to a specific herd. The fact that citizens were actively taking these dogs off the streets and bringing them into their homes to the point where philosophers had to write warnings about them destroying property is the earliest archaeological evidence we have of people adopting pets simply for companionship. But once those dogs got inside the house, the Sumerian scribes realized something else. You can feed them, you can shelter them, but you cannot change their nature. Sumerian scribes underwent years of brutal training in schools called edubas. They copied lists of vocabulary, complex math, and legal codes for 12 hours a day. And just like a modern college student venting online, these scribes used the margins of their tablets to complain about their lives, and specifically about their dogs. On a collection of popular proverbs recovered from the ruins of Ur, a scribe recorded this brilliant, biting observation about canine loyalty. "A dog knows how to wag its tail, but a dog does not know how to wash its face. It eats what it shouldn't, hides what it can't finish, and when you kick it out, it sits at the door until you let it back in." Another tablet records a proverb that highlights the eternal, frustrating comedy of dog ownership. It describes a dog walking into a local tavern. The scribe writes, "The dog walked into an inn and said, 'I can't see anything in here. I guess I'll open this door and eat whatever falls.'" Subscribe so you don't miss it. The clay remembers everything.
We often look back at ancient civilizations like Sumer as alien worlds, distant and detached from our daily reality. We focus on the massive ziggurats, the mysterious pantheon of gods, and the kings who claimed to rule the earth. But the true magic of archaeology isn't found in the gold of royal tombs. It's found in the realization that a human being sitting by the Euphrates River 4,000 years ago looked down at their dog stealing food off the table, sighed in frustration, and picked up a stylus to write down the exact same thought you had this morning. The empires turned to dust, the languages died out, and the cities were buried by sand. But the bond and the comedy of sharing our lives with animals never changed. Next week, we trace a legal tablet from ancient Babylon detailing a lawsuit over a noisy neighbor's donkey and how the ancient court handled a dispute that sounds exactly like a modern HOA argument.